Because of the following special program, Wonder Woman and the Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. This is Making Tracks. Here are your hosts, Mark Newbold and Dave Tree.
That's not true. That's impossible.
You're listening to episode 6 of Making Tracks. I'm your co-host Mark Newbold, and joining me today, as always, is, well, you do your intro. This is tradition now. Dave, do your own intro, because it's better than the one I'll do.
No, the intro's done. You know, it's there. And Dave Tree. It's so cool. Like hearing that. I've never had like anything like done with such gusto. So
do you like gusto? Is gusto your thing?
Probably a little bit gusty tonight. Yeah, I would say there's probably been a bit of gusto here and there.
I can actually think of an audio clip where me and Matt and Gus put plenty of gusto into introducing you, Dave. You've heard it many times, and you should be very proud of it. It should be your ringtone, actually.
Don't do this to me.
Okay.
Like
I won't.
No, I will just
I want
say,
to, but I won't.
Just quick side story. So I don't know how this started, but like I think it was Matt. I was just get announced as Steve Tree, and it just like went on from there. And the pinnacle of this was just literally walking through Celebration Europe 3. And you guys were actually you were recording at that point on the podcast stage, and I just thought, I literally walked past, there was that shouting, and I just like turned round, and like I see you two idiots there like pointing at me with about 50 people just like turning around and looking as if to say what. And I was like, I'll see you later. Just like walked off because it's like, oh, this is embarrassing.
Couldn't hack it. You just couldn't hack it.
But like, what about yourself, Mark? I mean, come on, you must have had some like amazing injury with you. The legacy and the breadth and depth of stuff that you've done. You must have had some real belter introductions before.
Not so much.
Oh, lies! No. I'm gonna have to do something for you then.
No, you don't, Dave. No, it's fine. I like. I'm the bass player. You see, I like standing at the back, looking cool, eating a curry. I'm just happy to be in there. I'm just happy to be part of it. That's my thing.
Wow, I'm not so sure about that.
Oh, it's true.
But what's new with you then? Come on, have you been up to much at all?
Last weekend was London Film and Comic Con. This weekend just gone was Fantha Day, as you full well know, and farthest from, which was very busy and very hot, because I'm English, got to talk about the heat, so it was very hot. But lots of fun, and we had a great time, and it's always a good crack with the Fanthas, so it was all good fun. And yeah, it's been good. Lots of writing. The site's going well. I'm very excited because they've just announced the new Star Trek series with Patrick Stewart coming back as Captain Picard, so I'm very excited about that. So yeah, so everything is good. I can't complain or even speak at the moment because I'm so tired. I'm not as tired as you, Dave, because you take the biscuit when it comes to tired.
Yeah, no, it's been pretty relentless. It's been 4 weekends in a row working, and when you say you work a weekend, it always then sounds like you've got like the 8th day off, and it hasn't been that at all. No. You know, I'm into like 30 odd days now of like working straight, and I'm starting to go a little bit stir crazy, doolally. So that hence like my voice is a bit kind of like, but I'm hanging in there, but I'm probably not going to make much sense on this episode.
So the focus of this episode is London Film and Comic Con, and the next, actually, we've got a couple of episodes coming up that focus on London Film and Comic Con. And this episode, we're bringing you 3 blockbuster interviews. It's all professional. I was lucky enough to be hosting Ray Park's panel at London Film and Comic Con, so we've got a bit of audio from that. We've got Alan Austen, who was he was in the original trilogy. He played 6 different roles in The Empire Strikes Back. I don't know anybody that played 6 different roles in The Empire Strikes Back. Ross Sambridge, who you and me spoke to, who was in Last Jedi as Snoke's double, and also he played a Wookiee in Solo, A Star Wars Story. So we've got loads of stuff to cover. So I think we should just dive straight into it. So this is me moderating Ray Park's panel on the Sunday morning, early morning. It was about 10 past 10, but actually it was 10:50 because Ray was late. He got lost in Olympia. In the audience was Brian Cameron. Now, it's always good to have your friends turn up and give you moral support and back you up and be there for you. You've got this. You're going to be great. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Which was great until about 20 minutes in when I looked down the hall and saw the top of Brian's head because exactly, he fell asleep. So thanks, Brian, for all your support. And here's me and Ray Park, but mostly Ray Park because he's the interesting one, talking on stage at London Film and Comic Con.
Have you seen any of the Clone Wars or the Rebels episodes that Maul recently? What did you think of those? Because obviously there's a sense of ownership to the characters, so how did you feel they went?
You know, when I found out that Savage was coming, it was being introduced, I was at Celebration in Orlando and I was on stage. And I remember thinking, oh, he's got a double-bladed lightsaber, great, I'm jealous. And then I didn't know Darth Maul was coming back. And then I saw an image on a DVD cover at Target of Darth Maul. I went, oh yeah, right, he's just going to come back for an episode and get killed. I didn't realise how big it would be, so it was really nice to sit and watch it on Netflix with my son and see what they did. Because I know Sam is a good friend of mine, and just to see where it was going and where it led to. And watching Clone Wars, I fell in love with the Mandalorians. Yes. And so I thought, and because they were making new Star Wars movies, I was like, you know what? They're not going to ask me back for Darth Maul, but if they ask me back to be a character, I want to be a Mandalorian. That's cool. Because I fell in love with them, I thought they were pretty cool, and now I get why they're so cool at conventions. They look good. And so yeah, that was my dream. I wanted to be a merc.
And so if ever the opportunity came along, that would be a character or a race you'd be interested in being a part of?
Yeah, I would love to do it. Yeah. You know, everyone wants to be a stormtrooper, you know, but so watching Clone Wars, I loved watching Clone Wars, and then Rebels came. And it was a little different, but it was good to see Rebels. It was good to see Maul was even older and how he was. So it was really interesting. Not thinking that Darth Maul would ever come back. Yeah. So I was just watching it as a cartoon, you know.
And did you get into those TV shows, obviously because the character was in it, but you mentioned your boy, so did you get into it watching it with your kids as well?
Yeah, with my kids, yeah, because we've grown up doing Star Wars weekends. Nice. My wife was pregnant with my son when we did the first one. My daughter was scared of Star Wars for a long time because of Vader and the noises and the sounds. So we've grown up with Star Wars and doing the Star Wars weekends every year. So that's been our kind of, and I think thanks to you guys, the fans, and thanks for doing Star Wars weekends, it's kept the character alive. And it's kept that performance alive as well, and it's kept me alive. You know, like in spirit, you know, like I'm still performing. Yeah. I'm a Star Wars fan first. We had it on tape. And I used to bunk off school and pretend I was sick because I didn't want to go to school. And so I'd put Star Wars on. And my mum would go, oh, not bloody Star Wars again, turn that off. Because we only had one TV in the house, you know? Yeah, it was back then, you know? Yeah. So it was, now it's all different. But so there's one TV, so when she'd fall asleep, Star Wars would go on. and it was Empire Strikes Back that did it for me. I went to see it the big screen, and when Luke was training with Yoda, and doing handstands and flips, I'm like, I want to be able to do that. But I knew I wanted to do martial arts, but I wanted to be a Jedi as well.
So were you an athlete as a kid, by nature?
Yeah, I wasn't like the typical, you know, guy who was always in shape looking. I was a little chubby pudgy, but I was always determined. Yeah. You know, like I was always active. Like I was the kid jumping up from a tree to tree because I was bored. Yeah. You know, like, we didn't have iPads and, you know, there was 3 channels on TV. You know, you've got the A-Team, Thundercats, and, you know, and Power Rangers, you know, Baywatch I never watched because I was always training. Yeah. So I had nothing to do, so I was trained. I was on my BMX, on my skates, I was either jumping over skips, jumping over my friends. Yeah. You know, there's a tree near my old high school that you could actually climb, because of Jackie Chan, and you can actually bounce off the branch and land on the other tree and hang, and it would take you all the way to the ground. We came up with some crazy stuff. I've got a scar on my hand for making my own zip line when I was 10. Because you know, it was summer holidays, I was bored, I found some rope. I'm like, I'll climb up that tree, climbed up it. Because I watched the movie, I must have seen it in the Jackie Chan movie. Tied it off the other side, didn't know what I was doing, found this nice branch, it just had a nice curve to it. Zipped down the first time, worked perfectly. Second time, bang, ripped my whole hand. Look, it's right there.
Yeah, it's there.
Scars tell a story.
So whilst we were at London Film and Comic Con, we had the opportunity in the Star Wars Zone to talk to different people in different areas. And one of the people that was actually in the Star Wars Zone was Alan Austen. Alan was a stormtrooper in the original trilogy. He played other various roles in Empire Strikes Back. He actually played, if I remember off the top of my head, I think he played 6 different roles. This is me and Sander having a chat with Alan. Sander went over to specifically tell him that his Bespin Guard character from Empire had been given a name. And it turned out that Alan already knew this. He'd been told this a little while ago. But Sander actually had the chance to shake his hand and explain that he was the guy that came up with the name. And then we just rolled into this conversation, which you're going to hear now, talking about all the stuff he did, specifically on Empire. I was blown away by this. I didn't know any of this. So here's me, Sander, and Alan talking Star Wars, amazingly.
So when you were making the film, did the character ever have any kind of a name?
No.
No?
No, this is all sort of reference afterwards.
Yeah.
No, we never had a name. That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
How long were you on the film for?
I did a total of 6 months, but with some gaps.
Yeah.
But it was March 79 till I finished on it in September 79. But yeah, I mean, you didn't work every day. It was we had a couple of weeks off when they went to Norway.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
And there were other times out.
Yeah.
But in general, from start to finish, it was a 6-month period.
Good times.
Yeah, great times. I mean, it's where John and I first met. We made some other friends on there that are still friends today. Some have sadly passed away, but yeah, it's great.
And does it still surprise you that Star Wars is so big that you're still doing this 40 years later?
It did, but now I can see the reasons why. I mean, I remember my own son when he was about 5 and he's 27 now.
Yeah.
I was watching Empire Strikes Back one Sunday afternoon, I think, and I'd come in from, I think I'd been away filming or something, and I came in and he was all over me because his mum had said to him, "Oh, your daddy's in this as a stormtrooper." So when I came in, he made me sit down and watch the rest of the film with him, and I hadn't seen it in years. But he actually became a Star Wars fanatic, as the child that brought up to he was about 11 or 12 years of age. Yeah. And that kind of brought it home to me. I thought, this is bigger than I ever imagined. Yeah, very important.
Yeah.
And of course, now that I'm signing at conventions, I accept it. That's the way it is. If anyone had said to any of us, when we were working on the picture, how big this was going to be, and certainly we've always said all those Polaroids that were falling around on the floor, we'd have grabbed up as many as possible. I mean, especially when I doubled for Han Solo. They used to take Polaroids before they take main shot. Well, the Polaroids were just for costume checks and stuff like that.
For continuity.
For continuity, They were just discarded, and if I'd have known, I mean, the photo of me there, is taken from that still with Billy D. Williams. It was Billy that picked the Polaroid up and took it back to America and gave it to his son, who's kindly sent me a copy of it a couple of years ago. But I don't know what made Billy do that. But I wish that I'd done the same. I really do. If we'd had any kind of inkling that this was the way it was going to go, we all would have done it.
You'd have grabbed everything.
I would have grabbed everything we possibly
of course.
could. Yeah.
And how many characters in the film? Well, you say you're Stormtrooper, obviously you're Bespin Guard as well.
A Rebel pilot, a Hoth Rebel, and a Snowtrooper.
Wow. That's got to be a record for the most different parts in one film.
Movie, I mean, I started out, the first costume was a Hoth Rebel. You did your stuff. There were quite, there were quite big calls for those scenes. Then I think it moved into Snowtrooper, which was only a couple of days. Then it was probably X-Wing. Then the Stormtroopers came about, and then while we're doing that, it was Bespin Guard. So it's kind of all interlinked. So I'm sure in Cloud City, I'm shooting as a Stormtrooper, I'm probably shooting myself as a Bespin Guard.
Well, Ian Liston was like that, wasn't he? He was the Rebel pilot in the Snowspeeder, and he was the AT-AT driver. So Jeremy was the Imperial Guard and Boba Fett. So you get that, I guess.
Yeah.
Shooting yourself.
Yeah. Well, because the thing is, if you're heavily disguised or wearing a helmet, you can be used as something else.
Yeah. So, and you were doubling for Harrison as well.
I doubled Harrison as Han after they'd gone back to America. I did. That was the only time I doubled for it. They'd all gone back. They wanted to get some over-the-shoulder shots, hand shots, and they asked me to come back and do that. And I don't, to this day, understand why they asked me. I mean, I got on very well with Harrison. We're about the same size. people say strangely that now I'm getting older, that they can see resemblance. In fact, the film that I did, Sally at -10, recently, the director of that said while she was editing, she just couldn't get over the similarity between herself and Harrison Ford today. And strangely enough, she also says that my son looks like this new guy playing Harrison, whatever his name is, in Solo.
Yeah.
And there is a similarity. So it's a strange connection.
And so any of your Solo doubles, were they ever seen in the film?
They're in there.
Wow.
Yeah, they're in
so
there.
So there's 6 characters then?
They're in there. It'll be like, twiddling dials and pushing buttons and over the shoulder and to the back of their head, that sort of thing, yeah.
You deserve your own convention.
I do, really. we should suggest that, the Alan Austin convention, yeah. The only trouble is, somebody else said that, and I said, well, the trouble is, if you called it Austin Convention, people will turn up as in Jane Austen costume. They'll think it's a Jane Austen convention.
Yeah, brilliant.
So had you heard of Alan? Did you know of his story? Had you heard any of these tales?
No, this is all fresh stuff for me, and that's always what's really cool about the various different mediums of like what we do. With no like disrespect to like the main channels and outlets and titles that you have, like StarWars.com and The Insider and things like that. You don't really get like the breadth and depth of everything. You've only got so many pages or column space and things like that. So like things like this podcast comes in and Fantha Down Under. Just get like this opportunity to really flesh out all of this other stuff. So that's cool, and that's why I always listen to Making Tracks.
And you said you were tired, man. You were on point. This is awesome. I've got to say, though, we're not very good at giving cake and cookie recipes. So if you want Max Rebo donuts or Admiral Akbar cookies, go to StarWars.com. I've got to say they're the best place to get your recipes from. No, you're right. It's cool. It was nice meeting Alan. I don't think he was a first-time guest as well. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was a first-time guest. So to hear him go through all these little stories about what he'd done and like doubling for Harrison Ford, and you actually see the back of Alan's head, and which is more than you saw of Brian in Solo, but actually I saw quite a lot of the back of Brian's head because it was resting on his chest during the Ray Park talk.
I was going to say, like, the truth be told, like Brian was probably asleep whilst the filming was going on, you know, so that's why, because he's like slumped over.
I know, I'm not going to let this go. So but to speak to Alan, it was fascinating, and to say that six different roles, and he did the same as Ian Liston was an AT-AT driver, and Wes Jansen, Jeremy Bulloch. Was it Lieutenant Shekel and Boba Fett? So he was shooting himself in the same scene, and Liston was shooting himself, and Alan Austin was the same. He was like a rebel trooper and a no trooper. So you get these guys who are like shooting themselves on screen, which just sounds weird. Fascinating guy and really cool to talk to him.
Hi, this is Gareth Edwards, director of the best standalone Star Wars film since Caravan of Courage, called Rogue One. You're listening to Fantha Tracks. Enjoy.
You may have the chance at the end of the show to sit down with Ross Sambridge, who we'd spent a bit of time with over the weekend. Went for a bite to eat on the Saturday. Fascinating fella. I'd never met him before. Had you met him before?
No, it was the first time.
So it was nice to sit down with him and he told us a bit of his tales of working on The Last Jedi and then working on Solo. So this is you and me at the end of a long, hot, sweaty weekend. Both of us pooped, much like we are now, talking to Ross as, and you'll hear in the background, they're packing down London Film and Comic Con. That's what all the noise is. It's actually people taking down the convention. So this is you and me talking to Ross.
So we're here at London Film and Comic Con, which has actually finished. We're sitting in the Star Wars Zone, which is actually being packed down. The day is pretty much done. It's Sunday evening. Sunday, I've lost track of the days.
It is.
I'm here with Dave.
Hello.
Dave Tree, site mascot, and with Ross Sambridge, who is a Wookiee in Solo. And well, how would you describe your part in The Last Jedi? How would you describe it? Because I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Well, firstly, hello.
Hello.
Hello. So it's great to be here.
Good.
And great to meet you guys and speak to you guys. How would I describe my time on Jedi or the character? Well, I share the character of Supremely the Snoke with Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
With Andy, we brought Snoke to life. I was body double, where they'd have the costume put on me. I would go for the motions as much as what Andy was doing, and so they can get how the cloak would fit on a taller, thinner body.
Yeah.
Flows differently from someone who'd been shorter, so they kindly, really lovely of them to ask me to don the costume. It was amazing to be a part of such a brilliant production, to work with so many lovely people, to worked with Daisy, worked with Adam. It's fantastic. Being directed by Ryan Johnson was a dream, and he's a lovely guy.
So what was it like working in close quarters with those particular actors as well? Because that was such a key scene, that throne room scene, and you're right in the thick of it. That must have felt pretty important.
Yes. When I was sitting in the throne for the very first time, it didn't become real until that point. And I must say, I did get a little bit emotional, I must admit. It was just sort of like, oh my gosh, I'm on a Star Wars set.
That's great.
And remarkable, and then just sitting there was one thing, but then having Andy come on set and sort of like we take it in turns, sort of like to be Snoke, it's just very surreal. It's still surreal, like 2 years later. And I went to another convention a while ago, and someone was dressed up as Snoke.
Okay.
And that was, I was like, wow, there's someone dressed up as the guy I was dressed up in. That I've seen that it was all very confusing, but all really sort of humbling at the same time.
Yeah.
He didn't know who I was. I didn't. But so I was like, hello, and he was like, whatever. But it was so good, and the CFX guys and the VFX guys were wonderful to work with and to pick up how to bring Snoke all those pieces together. And it was just wonderful, and Daisy's lovely, and just sort of like having her right up close to me on the first day of filming. That was, and she's like, "How are you doing, Ross? How are you?" I'm going, "I'm fine, thank you. I'm just taking it all in." But I had a very, very sore throat on that day, and I was like starting to sound like Bane from Batman. So it's wonderful, and for how long I remember how long I was on there for. Every day was a joy, and I had to keep pinching myself because am I really here? Chatting to Andy and him sort of like teaching me how Snoke would move, and I mean I'm sort of like to copy the movements to get it just right for the CFX VFX people. It was wonderful. There is a couple of the shots that are showing, you can just see it's actually me, it's not CGI. So obviously I know that a lot of people maybe who is hearing this might think, well, Snoke is all just completely CGI. The answer to that is that yes, you're right, the majority is, but there are some shots where they've just literally used the physical.
Yeah, they couldn't have made it any better or any different.
So so that's how it is. And I thought that was wonderful. And then a short time later, I had an audition for Solo, not knowing exactly who I was going to be or what exactly I was going to be playing.
Warwick Davis' stunt double.
Yes. Well, I was gonna actually like ask that as a question because.
No, I wasn't Warwick Davis' stunt double. Sorry.
But you kind of hinted earlier, and Mark mentioned within the film, Snoke is a very imposing character, and then Mark mentioned that you're a Wookiee in Solo.
Yes.
These are for the benefit of the listeners, because they're listening and not seeing.
Yes.
You are of quite a stature, to say the least.
Yes.
So, how tall are you?
Oh, okay. I'm around the 7'1" mark. So between 7 and 7'1". Yeah.
Wow.
I've been measured a few places, slightly differently. Sort of like some people put me up at 6'11", and then some have done 7 foot. So I just go with the average. But I've been measured a few times, and majority they're going, you're 7'1", but maybe on a good day sort of thing. So maybe it's just like between 7 and 7'1". So I've done other things apart from Star Wars where my height's come into it. I think it's wonderful. Wonderful for a taller person as well, because we don't always play basketball. The crazy golf's always good.
Crazy golf's fun.
Until you slam dunk in the windmill, but it
happens every time.
Thank you for laughing at that joke. No one really laughs at that joke. So, and we are the height of society as well.
Very good, very good.
Thank you very much. I've grown up with all the jokes, but literally.
My surname's Tree, so I can kind of sympathise in that same sense.
Do you branch out into things?
There we go.
Okay,
Like, let's leave already. And all that,
Have you ever done acting, or if they said you quite wouldn't? That's
that's it. You get the idea.
I get it. I mean, this isn't just a plant, is it?
No, it's very good. He's quick. I like this.
Quick. Yeah, a lot of people sound quick, sadly. Anyway, so yes, it was good. Now, a few months later, I was lucky enough to be brought in for an audition for the Red Cup. So for a character that they said it was Soul, wasn't quite sure what it was. You know, I just did the things we did. I can't really go into it, but the things we did. And then afterwards, like 2 weeks later, my agent called me and said, "Are you sitting down?" And I said, "I'm not." And I said, "Well, you know, you've got the role." And I was like, "Oh my God, you know, still not exactly know what exactly it was." I had an inkling, but until you actually sort of like see it in person. So when me and the other Wookiees saw ourselves for the first time, it was like we all hugged each other and went, "Oh my God, this is brilliant! You know, we are literally going to be Wookiees in this film."
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was just great. I mean, and the thing is, we became an actual like brotherhood on the set. Yeah. It wasn't just for this film. Because we're all massive fans of Star Wars anyway.
Yeah.
And then huge fans of the actual characters or the character. It was like, oh, this is ridiculously brilliant, and like, wow, we're all going to be. So we became a really good bond. We had a lovely time together.
Does your character have a name?
I was going to ask that.
Not as yet. We're hoping so. Yeah. There's a book out, the Where's Wookiee 2.
Yeah.
And there's actually an illustration of some Wookiees you have to find.
Yeah.
So whether I honestly, again, I don't know if any of the names have anything to do with that. I don't know, but I mean, I've seen us stickers in the DK version of the sticker book, and there's also a top sticker book that has got us in there apparently.
So your character has product.
Yeah,
this stuff you can get. That's cool.
You're already one action figure, or multiple action figures. So there could be others down the line. You escaped. Yeah. So there could be like the further adventures of.
Yeah.
Who's to say?
Yeah. Really and the band of Wookiees. That'd be kind of cool.
And the Wookiees.
Yeah. Maybe they take over Kessel. Who knows?
It's all up
there
there
to be written. It's totally there to be
literally
written.
in the stars.
Yeah.
You know.
Literally in the stars.
I mean, people. There'll be some element at some point, either like as a comic or as a book. You know, people will pick up these threads.
Yeah.
And like expand it and run with it. Nothing's ever left alone, is it?
Comics or books, then fans will definitely write adventures of.
A bit like the guy that's dressed up as Snoke. I think me and the other guys were saying that if we ever went to one of these like Star Wars conventions, and to have like 4 guys dressed up as our characters, that would be kind of like, wow, you know. So
you've made it then, haven't you? It happened when Revenge of the Sith came out. You had Tarful and all that. Michael King was saying about basketball players. You know, all those guys back in 2003 when they recorded it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You started to see those guys turning up at conventions. So you know the characters in cosplay. There's no reason why you wouldn't see you guys.
You've not seen any other sort of Wookiees really since Revenge of the Sith.
Not
so it's 13 years.
Yeah.
So to see like actual, and they all look quite independent from each other, even though they're all looking like formed from Chewie. But absolutely wonderful. I feel really honoured to be on not only one of them, but also on another one, and then like doing one of my favourite roles I've ever wanted to do.
Yeah.
And everything else. So it's like it's still even though it was last year when we shot it. It's still very fresh. It's all up there, and like and there's so many stories and stuff that I want to tell you. But
you can't see it just because it's a podcast, but he's grinning his face off. So obviously, it really affected you in a good way.
I loved it. I really loved it. And for those who haven't seen Solo yet, you should.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know when it comes out on Blu-ray.
24th of September.
He does, but I I just hope that there's more and more footage of stuff that isn't maybe not shown. And everyone has a great time watching it. I had a great time doing it, and I'm sure the other guys, if you do interview the other Wookiees, would say exactly the same thing. And we just can't thank the guys at the creature department, it's been fantastic. So like working with Neil Scanlon and with Brian Herring and a few of the others as well, like Sophie Weiss and all the other creatures was epic. I mean, not a day went past where we were like the luckiest boys.
Didn't feel like work, it felt like an experience.
Well, yeah, absolutely. We were like, I hope I'm not draining your battery, but I mean, it's just like there was so much stories I can tell. I mean, like, there's one instance where we're in one of the tents on the outdoor shots, and you just had people that were working for all different like the different characters from different things, like a guy from Superman, a guy from like Tinky Winky from the Teletubbies, and basically anyone and anybody you've grown up with. Sort of like just a sort of wow, this is you worked on that, and they're all going. It's just if someone could take a photograph and to see us all together, that just having a chat to Jonas and to Ian White, and it's just all right there. And 11 years ago, I was very, very lucky. I was in a lucky position. I was living in Bristol. There was this memorabilia shop, Moss Memorabilia in Bristol, in Totterdown, and so I literally walked in there, and the owner said, are you free the weekend? And I said, well, it can be. What's it for? And all he got up to was, it's a Star Wars thing. I said, I'm definitely doing it. So what it is, we'd like you to, we've got Peter Mayhew coming down, and you do some signings, and we want you to dress up as Chewbacca to have photographs with the kids and adults alike, and whilst he does all these stuff. And I was like, I'm there. When is it? Where? There I am, all dressed up in a Chewie costume, and the late Kenny Baker was there, and Jeremy Bulloch was around there, and it was fantastic. And like that alone, 11 years ago, to sort of be like walking around with as Chewbacca and having his wife and him telling me how to hold the bowcaster correctly and do like the sounds and things. I was like, that's fantastic. And then 11 years later, I'm now doing it for real as such, Again, a dream come true. So.
I think he will be a convention guest going forward because he's clearly full of stories. He didn't give too much away either, did he? He's keeping all the juicy ones, which you can't blame him.
It's one of those things that he's got some great insight. What he's had the opportunity he's been afforded to contribute to the world of like Star Wars, and it's quite varied as well. So it's not like you're just there because I mean the guy's a giant, so he's getting such a presence that you're not gonna like not notice him. And so because of the roles that those are associated to someone of that height, and everybody will know who you're talking about, but they stand out. So he's got like a lot to contribute on that front. So it was great. It was great, and it was really top dollar that Ross was able to spare the time to like talk to us in that environment. It wasn't like my stomach rumbling or anything like that. It was like the whole place was literally being ripped apart. Pallet trucks moving around and people like shouting and boxes falling and crates and stuff like that, and cars and vans moving. No, it was really great that he was able to like stay with us to the bitter end to be able to like give us that little bit of insight. Was that his first interview?
I believe it was. I'm pretty sure he said at some point this is the first interview, certainly the first podcast he's done. Pretty sure he said it was the first interview he'd done. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
Wow, well there we go. I mean that's an exclusive there in its own right.
We like exclusives, don't we?
Yeah, definitely.
It's Tuesday night. Time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. Welcome to Making Tracks.
Now, before we wrap this episode up, and like I say, we will be back very soon with episode 7 because we've got loads to talk about. We've got to cover Fantha Day and all the other news, episode 9 and all the cool stuff that's happening, but we will talk about that in the next episode. Can't let this episode go without mentioning Jeremy Bulloch, who's decided to step away from conventions and enjoy his retirement, enjoy his family. You and me travelled through Europe, half of Northern Europe, to get to Celebration Europe in Essen with Jeremy and Maureen, and had a great time doing it. What are your thoughts about Jeremy taking this decision to step away?
Hand on heart, I'm amazed that Jeremy and Maureen have had the energy and enthusiasm to do the number of appearances that they've been doing anyway. It is a lot to do, and there's a lot of travel, and you're spending more and more time away. You're losing yourself. You're living out of suitcases or just like driving backwards and forwards and things like that. So it is well deserved to take that break now and just like literally say, you know what, we've given everything that we can. Very approachable, very accessible through virtue of like doing a lot of appearances both in the UK, Europe and internationally. Jeremy, put your feet up, have a cup of tea, go up into that loft, look at that nice collection that you've built up of all of those fan-made items and things like that, and just enjoy it. You thoroughly deserve the break.
Yeah, absolutely agree. He's got a big family. He's got lots of grandkids. Him and Maureen, like I say, should just switch off now and enjoy all of that. He's certainly done his stint, hasn't he? I think he's been out there longer than pretty much anybody on the convention circuit. So, Jeremy and Maureen, well done. You've earned your break from us and from everybody else on Fantha Tracks. All the very best. Here's a bit of audio. It's me and Louis. It's Louis Turfree. We used to run Lightsaber back in the day at Memorabilia back in 2006, chatting to Jeremy.
What's it like portraying the coolest character in sci-fi?
Well, sometimes, if you're thinking, help, I've got a cold, I'm not feeling too well, I start thinking, hello, you're Boba Fett, a cold wouldn't worry you at all. No. So you get on with things. So in a way it gives you that sort of injection. So it was a cool character to play.
Absolutely, yeah. Cheaper than paracetamol.
Oh. Class.
Boba Fett's history. Now that we've learned from the prequels, is it anything like you imagined it to be?
No, because in a way, I just thought, all I thought was, when you hear Boba Fett, what if he doesn't survive? You think, well, something's happened to him. He's got maybe just a complete no face or something. He fought very hard. He's a human being. He maybe fought with Han Solo at some stage. Now we leap forward to the prequels.
Yeah.
He's a clone, but a super clone.
Yeah.
So it's been very difficult to undo what I've told people in the past. Now I said, well, it's science fiction.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, it's something I can't talk about. It's government. So it's funny, he is now a super clone.
Yeah.
So now I've got to go down that road. But I think it's great that he had a backstory.
Yeah.
And you didn't know what it was about.
You've switched it in your head now. You can adjust to the new history.
I can. Yeah.
Tell us a bit about Star Hike. We keep hearing about Star Hike.
Yeah, Star Hike is interesting. A lot of people have been hearing about it because the sudden interest from a couple of channels.
Yeah.
They saw the first episode. It's all fully cut.
Yeah.
It still needs some work on it, but they saw it and they said fine. But they now want to see all 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Which I sort of understand, but there's the delay because now they have to spend the money on, and really getting all episodes finished meant financial burden again. Yeah. And we all, as you do with reality television at the moment, which I think is destroying the world, everyone worked for very little and long hours. Well, sometimes past 11 o'clock. People said, never mind, come on, let's keep going. So hopefully through that, it will be next year be pushed through and shown. It's. Well, I'm saying it's like Red Dwarf, in a way it is, but it's its own way, and the character I played, Dr. Strike, is completely insane. So if you had a medical condition, don't go to him, whatever you do. So there's a lot of fun, but it also becomes very dramatic. There's drama, comedy, there's everything.
Well, we've seen some of the special effects. You've got the ship, your screensaver. Yes.
Yeah.
Because we're from Lightsaber as well. We do Lightsaber.
Oh yes.
I did interview you about 18 months ago.
That's right.
We were talking about it then.
So it's been a long time, 2 years ago since we did it. So it's quite a long process. And you go on to your next job.
That's right.
And if this comes up and okay, we're ready to do a second season, then it'll be all pistols out. Wang.
Brilliant. You've done some charity work as well, haven't you? Online.
Well, I did. I've done quite a few things actually. I did the Davros thing for children in need, so that was good. And then I'm going off to America next weekend for Make-A-Wish Foundation, so that's charity. And then I'm going on to Vegas after that for a few days, and then plus a signing. So that would be fun as well. But the charity Make-A-Wish is really good. That's going to be good.
Yeah. Do you ever get to wear the costume?
I did for Make-A-Wish last year, and I might try and get into the costume at least that much with the helmet to have as a new photo, but it has to be passed by Lucas because people keep saying, haven't you got one of you in the outfit? So that'd be quite good to renew that.
Absolutely. Right, final question.
Yep.
This is a good one. In a face-to-face off, face-to-face, in a face-off, face-to-face.
Yeah.
Who would come up on top? The original trilogy or the prequel?
Well, if you look at the original trilogy, Boba Fett, he's got a few dents in his outfit, and he's escaped. He's escaped a few.
Yeah.
If you had the very young Boba Fett, he wouldn't be experienced enough to beat.
Yeah.
But if he'd grown up as a clone, meeting me, he's young, probably a little stronger.
Yeah.
But there's no excuse for experience, is there? Really? I mean, the experience would probably the original Boba would beat him.
Brilliant.
And he'd also beat Jabba the Hutt and Darth Vader on the same day.
I'd like to see that.
He would beat him.
Hello, I'm Warwick Davis, and you're listening to Fantha Tracks.
That was LFCC. We had a great time doing the Star Wars Zone. It will be back next year. Bigger, better, more stuff going on. We'll bring you all the news as it develops. But until then, you can find us on social media. You can find us everywhere. It's basically at Fantha Tracks. So on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on the YouTube channel, anything else you want to look at, we're there. Fantha Tracks, just type in Fantha Tracks everywhere and you will find us. Dave, where can people find you?
Fantha Trackers are everywhere. If you can't find us, you will be able to find... oh man, I'm so tired. You can find us. I know when I listen back to this, it's not going to make any sense.
I can edit, don't worry.
But you can find me. I run a toy shop called All the Cool Stuff. It is based in Hampshire. It's the summer holidays. Come down and say hello. Come and join the sauna. That is All the Cool Stuff.
Go down and resuscitate Dave.
Yeah. If you find me, throw some water on me. But you can find me there and also on the Facebook page, All the Cool Stuff. Or alternatively, and this is what I would really love you to do, Mark mentioned there is a YouTube channel, and that is specifically run by a chap called Martin Keeler, occasionally when I'm alive myself. But we are building that up all the time, and we are seeing new subscribers there. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Fantha Tracks YouTube channel. It's just that you search Fantha Tracks and you'll see it pop up. There's a whole host of different videos, product reviews to interviews to really some crazy stuff and bits and bobs. I think there's going to be some new content stuck up there from following Fantha Day that we've had over the weekend. But you can find us there and you can drop us a line. How about yourself, Mark?
You can find me on Twitter at prefect_timing, but for most of the time you'll find me on Twitter as the sort of quiet, nonsensical babble behind Fantha Tracks Twitter feed, and also on the website, obviously fanthatracks.com, which is where it all happens. And my brain's going now in the heat. And our
everybody's been thinking we've been drinking, but we literally haven't.
That's where we're going wrong. We're not drinking enough. Our podcast channel is developing as well. Obviously, we've got Fantha Down Under. Thank you, Dave. So that's developing, and there's new shows coming. There's new shows being percolated and worked on. So there's going to be more YouTube and there's going to be more podcasts. It's all go, but I think
there is
now,
a really exciting podcast being developed at the moment, isn't there?
There is a couple actually. There's a couple of really exciting podcasts with very cool names and nice people involved. And I'm looking forward to all of this. It's all going to be good. But for now, I think we're both going to go for a lie down in a quiet, darkened room until episode 7. Which will be wonderfully fun, as it always is. So thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Mark.